Scout here. I'm going to do a quick comparison video. I've had this MTech knife for a while. It's a copy of basically a Cold Steel Recon or Cold Steel Trailmaster. Good knife, about the same thickness. Good chopper. It's only a 440 steel. It doesn't even say if it's 440C or 440A. Has a little bit of a choil. It's a really good chopper. Doesn't keep an edge great, but when you're chopping wood, you know, doing camp stuff, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. Has the worst sheath ever made. It's really bad. Just has some little Velcro thing here that I really don't trust a whole lot, but as far as just something to be able to throw in your backpack, something to have when you go camping, hiking, really, you know, you could build a shelter with this. It chops really good. So I actually have wanted a tops knife for a while to compare to this. I bought one a little while back, so we're going to do a comparison here. Do a little bit of chopping and maybe split a piece, and then we'll try that with the tops knife and just see how they compare. This was about a $30 knife. The tops one was a bit more, quite a bit more, but we'll give it a try and see how they compare. So let's do a little bit of chopping. You know, you definitely want to use a lanyard anytime you're chopping with a big knife. The tops one is really going to be the case with that. This one, you know, it's not as important, but you know, I definitely would suggest always using a lanyard when chopping. So we'll do a little bit of chopping here. So I think this is maple. I'm not really sure. It looks like maple to me. Pretty hard stuff. It's taking a little bit of work to go through it, but the edge, you know, it holds up well enough to do a little bit of that stuff. Let's give it a flip here. There we go. So let's try splitting the piece here. I'll see how easily we can do that. You can come a little closer. So this big beefy blade, you know, granted I don't have anything too solid to do this on, so it is kind of driving me to the ground, and also my stick's breaking, but this is some hard wood. So I have a knot right here in the middle, and this doesn't have a whole lot of mass, this piece. Whew. I don't know if we're gonna get through that with that little baton. We'll try something like this here. We'll use that as our baton. So as you can see, that's much easier. Don't want to bore you guys with 10 minutes of me trying to get through this piece here, so stick with that. We'll move on to the cheetah. So here's the tops knife that I got. As you can see, it's got that nice coating on it. Real, you know, kind of thick blade to it. So we're going to go over and we'll do a bit of chopping with it. This thing chops awesome. Whew, you should come do a close-up of what that's showing. That's doing. Holy cow. Whew. Chips are just a-flying. Woo! Wow, I thought this would get through fast on that MTech. These top knives, they're supposed to be awesome. We're getting through it, look at that. Oh yeah. Let's try some splitting. Yeah. Want to roll. Hey, look at that. It's actually doing that. So either this knife's really little, or I just got a whole lot bigger. As you can see, it's just a Tops Cheetah. Still a great knife. I wanted to get a big Tops knife. That's what I was going for. I looked at quite a few, but I figured if I'm gonna spend, if I'm gonna try a knife brand out, why not try with a smaller knife? Check out how everything is. I knew I was gonna like the micarta handles. Those are a huge win in my book. They feel great to your hands. They're nice and soft. Even when they get wet, they have even more traction. The fit and finish on this knife are excellent. I didn't even know fixed blades, would be made like this to really have the same kind of fit and finish as a lot of the high-end folder brands. Seems I'm a little out of breath from the little chopping session we had there, but for being such a little knife, this thing is really thick. I believe it's definitely wider than an 1/8. I'd say it's pushing pretty close to 3/16 in the handle there, but it's only about a 2 3/4 inch blade or something like that, 2 5/8. A little more up to the handle. Feels really good in the hand. So this isn't really made for chopping, obviously. Figured I'd have a little bit of fun with it. But as far as just carving, if you had to do feather sticks, I'm not a pro at that. But to make them, it can make them. This knife is not even all that sharp. The 1095 does sharpen up really well though. But I had to back off the bevel a bit. It was very thick. I'm sure you can see this is my SMF. They're pretty close. They're the same thickness at the spine where it goes up behind the handles and the tang of the blade. This one tapers off a bit, but the bevel, back of the bevel thickness is actually thicker on the Cheetah than it is on my Strider. Really thick edge. It's going to hold up really good. I'd have no problem if you had to cut something down. You can see with this log here, it's not something you'd want to have to chop with. It's not something you'd want to have to chop with, but if you are in a pinch and you have nothing else and you have to notch to make a shelter, or you were lost in the woods and had all the time in the world and you had nothing else to chop with, I would almost suggest making a type of handle out of something wood to give you a little more leverage. You could do something like this. Lash it onto that really good. That'd give you some extra leverage, and I'm sure you could get through that if you had to. But as far as just splitting the kindling stuff, I was actually quite impressed. It's plenty thick enough for its short little size. For just little camp kindling, it's a really good partner to something like this. It has an excellent coating. As you can see, I've worn the coating off this. It didn't take a whole lot of time. It's held up in this 440 steel, so it's not going to rust as easily as the 1095 would. This you definitely want to keep oiled up. Another high point on this knife is the sheath. I am absolutely amazed with the quality of these top sheaths. If they're all as good as this knife is, then I have no problem spending $150 and buying one of its bigger brothers. There's a lot of good ones I've seen. A lot of them are funky designs. They're very specific designs to certain tasks. So you really need to try to find the knife that fits you the best for what you need. But once you can do that, this is a great knife as well. But once you do that, I think you wouldn't be disappointed. It's really great quality. I'm thoroughly impressed with it. I can't wait to get a bigger one. When I do, I'll do this for real and show you guys how it compares to this MTech. For now, for chopping, obviously it doesn't compare. For quality, it beats this by a mile. So I figured I'd do a quick vid, show you guys that. I'll have a few more vids coming. Not too many, but I'm not going to review everything I own. But obviously there's a few knives that I have and a couple coming that may interest other people. This knife, there's very few videos out there on. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.